tracking the pulse of the road and the future of flight. From viral trends to policy shifts, we cut through the traffic to bring you the stories that drive us. Your fast track guide to everything on the move starts right now. From the Billionaire News Channel studio to Mellow 947 BFM, your playlist made better. I'm Paolo de Rosario. This is Shift Happens. Hello, welcome to Shift Happens, and joining me today is Business World Motoring editor and the man behind Uncapped, one of our most popular guests and co-hosts, Cap Maceda Aguila. Cap,
oh, grabe
nice seeing
naman.
you.
Mamaya yung bayad ko sa'yo.
Okay, yes, thank you. I'm expecting that. Alam mo, Cap, I'm really excited to talk about this topic kasi it is very relevant considering that lahat tayo apektado ng fuel rise so far.
That's true. I mean, we're so used to it now na every week we're just seeing this meteoric rise of our fuel prices, and it's really crazy.
I know. So we're gonna try and see what we can do because as fuel prices reach record highs, the strain is being felt by every Filipino on the road. Now, from private car owners to public transport passengers, with gasoline and diesel costs climbing week after week, many are re-evaluating how they get around. Now, one clear shift, more people are hopping on bikes. Not just for leisure, but as a smart and practical way to move. For some, that's what they can afford. For many, cycling has become a simple way to stay mobile while cutting back on fuel costs.
And it's not just about saving money. Active mobility comes with long-term benefits too. Still, there are hurdles like road safety, awareness, infrastructure, and making sure policies keep up with the times. To help us better understand the role of cycling and active mobility in today's transport landscape, especially in the face of rising fuel prices, we are joined today by mobility advocate and the founder of First Bike Ride, Buji Babiera. Welcome to the show, Buji.
Hi, welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Oh, no. Thank you for welcoming us also. Pero Buji, welcome back to BNC, by the way. It's not your first time here. We really appreciate you coming on. And just to be completely clear, I know we're talking about cycling, but you're also a car owner. So we are not advocating na wala ng kotse. But it's more of like the practical mobility here. And how does that work out for you? How's that mix for you when it comes to actually moving around the metro?
Yeah, so my main mode of transport now is cycling. So I own an electric bike, an electric bicycle, folding bike, a bicycle. Tapos I still drive kung kailangan ko talagang mag-car. And at the same time, I still use ride-hailing apps from time to time. And public transport. Yun yung mga modes of transport ko.
And really important now kasi partner, alam mo, diesel yung kotse niya. And considering, I think, plus 12 pesos ata yung kada litro ng diesel, it's always going to be a factor.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, I'm very curious as to the mix of your the vehicles that you have. No? It's nice to know that hindi mo totally pinakawalan ng mga the cars that Paolo and I drive, for instance. So, can you tell me a bit about what you ride and when do you drive and ride it? Decision-making process.
Yeah, parang I really want options when it comes to moving around the city. But at the same time, I really want to go for the more sustainable mode of transport. And ngayon yan, nararamdaman ko na parang economical, mas practical talaga mag-bike. And, well, my car is parked sa house ng family ko, which is like 10 kilometers away from where I usually stay. Para mas mas parang
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, oo. Pero
avoiding.
Pero ang gamit ko talaga, most of the time is a folding bike. Kasi
we actually saw the folding bike sa dressing room and you actually got here by using yung carousel as well.
Yes.
I mean, how important is it na minimix natin yung cycling and of course the use of public transportation? Because it's some people will be like, oh, can you bike going to one place the entire way or do you do other things also?
Well, I can. Pero syempre, gusto ko maging presentable sa harap na ngayon, di ba? So, and it's tanghaling tapat. So, I really want na parang ano ba yung most practical, most efficient way of moving around. So, Nagbike lang ako 5 minutes papunta dun sa carousel station, tapos bus, tapos 5 minutes lang ulit from the station to here.
Okay. So mixed modes.
Yeah, mixed mode. Bimodal.
When we look at the importance of actually cycling right now. It feels like mas na-emphasize pa siya considering yung fuel crisis natin. Do you see more people cycling again on the road given the recent fuel hikes, or do you feel na people siguro have not gone to cycling enough yet during this fuel crisis?
Honestly, I think I see like same number pa rin. But
Wala pang
I've
growth.
known from business owners that there are many people buying bikes, especially electric bicycles now. So parang those businesses that I follow, they post now na nagkakaubusan na sila ng electric bicycles.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. So ibig sabihin there's a demand. And I guess people are just getting ready to go there kasi siguro parang ngayon pa lang nagsisimula talaga na nararamdaman nila yung parang sakit ng gas price, di ba? So, soon siguro. I predict na malapit na yung mas madaming tao na yung makikita ko nagbabike. Well, madaming tao pa rin naman na nagbabike until now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, pero yung impression ko kasi sa biking is like, before the pandemic, people got into bicycles just,
For fitness.
primarily for, diba? Primarily for health.
Yeah.
Diba? So, we hear of groups or groups of riders doon sa Midaang Hari, for instance. And then, nung nangyari yung pandemic, I saw more people, of course, because, we were limited by the inability to have public transportation because of, we might spread the... So, I saw a lot of people driving the electric scooters, ba tawag doon?
Yeah.
The rechargeable ones.
Yeah.
And so, how do you see this phenomenon right now? Is this like a fleeting thing? I mean, if you're being honest, do you see more people getting into it long term, or is this a stopgap for when this craziness is over, maybe we'll get back to normal?
I hope na this would continue. Kasi parang during the pandemic, we've seen na so many people got into it. Naging mode nila ng transport yung bike. And then the government started to put up infrastructure that's for cycling. Pero unfortunately, habang parang lumalayo tayo sa pandemic, they started to remove those things na parang nakakainis.
That's actually
especially for
interesting.
us.
Could you give us examples here of infrastructures na nawala after the pandemic that were actually more friendly to yung mga cyclists?
Like for example, they started to put up bollards in EDSA during the siguro 2023, 2022. But now, minsan wala ka nang makitang linya eh. Even lines are not visible anymore on EDSA. In San Juan, for example, sa Ortigas Avenue, meron siyang protected bike lanes before and now it's gone. So parang it compromises the safety of cyclists. And I understand why people are, parang naging mas afraid sila ulit na magbike because the infrastructure are not there anymore.
Yeah.
Or parang they felt na parang, baka hindi na safe, ganyan, mas marami ng sasakyan.
That actually brings up a good point. Actually, I forgot who we were talking to on this show, but they mentioned that the bike lanes share a lane along EDSA or some highways, and that means there's smaller space for the cars, and they try to fit themselves in those lanes.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, kapag malaki yung kotse mo, hindi talaga kasya sa lane na yan, and
Yeah.
you end up encroaching on the lane of the cyclist.
Yeah.
Do you feel that right now that it is siguro really a safety hazard more than it ever was to bike along EDSA, considering wala ng bollards, wala ng real protection, and you're sharing a lane with a car?
Well, delikado naman talaga. Parang when you mix active mobility with fast-moving vehicles, di ba? Pero siguro what happened now is parang at least mas aware na nga lang yung mga kotse ngayon. Pero to be honest, mas nakakatakot ngayon kasi nga, meron talagang parang wala akong protection talaga against these cars.
But having said that, I have noticed that EDSA is now being rehabilitated.
Yes.
I saw that the sidewalk, at least on the southbound part of EDSA, has been widened.
Yeah.
And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they're also considering putting the bike lane there.
Yeah.
Would
Have you
that
heard about
be a
that?
better
I've seen
solution?
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a better solution, though?
For me, it's not really because wala siyang connectivity eh. parang, ngayon, yung nakita ko siya yesterday when I was cycling along Guadalupe, wala siyang connectivity. Like, if you are cycling, you're still on the road with the cars, tapos you have to get down on your bike, tapos i-carry mo siya para dumating sa sidewalk. So wala siyang, hindi siya swabe, hindi siya, parang it's more inconvenient than convenience for safety. And at the same time, parang for me, mas gusto ko talaga na at least meron siyang bollards na lang talaga.
So we're actually showing that right now, a
yeah.
few of the footage there. So we see some areas may bollards nga. And we
that's
see
me.
you actually. Yeah, it's you.
That's the bike
we made
you
sure
brought
it's you.
today.
We made sure it's you.
Kasi Paolo yun.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about yung connectivity. How difficult is it that the connectivity is siguro more, what's the right word for it? It's disjointed from city to city kasi iba't iba yung regulation
Yeah,
nila,
that is
infrastructure
true.
nila.
Isa
Like, is
pa
that the
yun.
biggest challenge for cyclists?
Yeah, one challenge din yun na parang pagdating mo dito, may bawal dito. Or parang pagdating dito, parang, ay, wala nang bike lane. Parang ganun. Parang it's, nakaka-surprise. And at the same time, parang nakaka-confuse siya as cyclist. And I guess it goes well, it's the same with other, vehicles na parang iba-iba yung rules din per city.
That's true. And even if you mentioned the bollards, even when the bollards were there, motorcycles were using the cycling
Ayun.
lane, di ba?
Yeah,
Parang,
Our motorcycles are worst enemy.
And also implementation. Iba din yan. Like for example, there was a time when bumalik there was a time na NCAP, di ba? Parang pag alam nila na yung road, merong nakamonitor sa kanila, hindi sila pupunta dun sa bike lane. Parang susunod sila. Pero kapag pumasok ka na sa loob, sa mga cities, yan na. Parang dahil alam nilang walang nanonood sa kanila, parang they go na sa
Mahirap
bike
sa
lane. Parang
Pilipino,
wala
no?
na. Oo. So iba-iba talaga.
Yeah,
Parang-
I think that's what, it's one of my favorite things to clarify. Bike lanes means pang-active mobility, yung pajak talaga.
Yeah.
Hindi yung motorcycle lane.
Kasi
Oo.
parang if you mix a motorized vehicle with active transport, medyo mas delikado talaga siya. Hindi lang medyo, mas delikado
And
talaga
that defeats the purpose
siya.
altogether.
Yeah, that's correct.
For sure. I mean, like, we talk about the costing as well. I mean, like, you mentioned that more and more people are already buying electrified bicycles, and all of you've been using one for a while.
Yeah.
Is that siguro a more cost-efficient way? Kasi some people still want that comfort and at least feeling fresh when they get to their
Yeah.
destination. At the same time, some people, I don't know, siguro are still worried about charging as well. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's going to be the case. What are the things that you normally consider when purchasing an electric bicycle?
Well, for definitely safety. Parang gaano ba kabilis yung electric bike na gagamitin ko. At the same time, magkano ba yung gagastusin ko for charging, gaano katagal yung charging, gaano kalayo. Kasi for example, baka mamaya in the middle of my trip, maubusan pala ako ng battery kahit
Yeah.
full charge ako. So those things are usually people consider when buying an electric bicycle. But generally, it's really a good way to use for mobility. Kasi una, especially, hindi naman lahat tayo may lisensya.
Yeah.
Diba? So, hindi mo kailangan lisensya. Pangalawa, if you are afraid of speed, yun, mayroong limit yung speed ng electric bike. Hindi siya ganun kabilis. At the same time, you're also a bicycle. It's still healthy.
So, wait, what is going to define siguro kung anong pwede sa bike lanes at hindi? Because some people would argue that there are some electric mobility options, like yung mga electric bicycles, that are actually more hazardous in bike
Yeah.
lanes. Ano ba yung
At
limit?
least go very
Naku,
fast.
even with cyclists, to be honest, medyo nasa-stress sila sa mga naka-electric bike na sobrang bibilis eh. Kasi
Yeah.
parang, teka lang, bakit, allowed ba to sa bike lane? Parang delikado to with us some cities, they allow up to 25 kilometers per hour.
So may speed limit
May
rin.
speed limit din. So if you go beyond that, dun ka sa other side of the road.
Okay, we're gonna go and talk more about that later on. We have to take a quick break. Unfortunately, I wouldn't want to go on and talk about this, but we're gonna take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back in a moment. Welcome back. Still watching Shift Happens. We're going to continue where we left off. Of course, Aguila still with me here today, one of our favorite co-hosts. And of course, a mobility advocate and founder of First Bike Ride, Buji Babiera. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for staying on with us. we were talking about yung e-cycling being part of the mix here and whether or not they should be on the bike lanes. So you mentioned a while ago na there are some cities that actually have mga speed restrictions, speed limits na 25 kph for them. But when you look at that, you said some cities. How important is it that we have siguro better legislation, better implementation, better rules na mas unified yung mga cities, especially in the metro, to protect cyclists? Because it feels like right now that is one of the bigger sticking points that prevent people from feeling safe while they're on the road.
Yeah, sana, yun nga dapat unified talaga yung mga rules and regulations. Well, there was a time, a few years ago, when, the mayors of Metro Manila, they went to Europe and, study the bike infrastructure and, yung cycling infrastructure sa Europe.
Kami quotations.
Kasi parang after that, madami silang tinanggal na bike lane. Parang, di ba? Parang ang weird nun
Parang mali yata yung takeaway.
Oo, parang weird nun. So sana from there, di ba, nagkaroon ng group chat pa na usap-usap sila para same yung at ma-apply yung mga natutunan nila there.
Since you mentioned it, I'm researching and it appears to be that the Netherlands is the number one top, parang the top bike nation, we call it. There are actually more bikes there than people. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Parang sheep lang, no?
More bikes than people. Parang New
Sheep sa
Zealand.
New Zealand. So, ayun, what can we take away, at least from your own research and stuff? What do we take away from successful European models wherein the bike is the preferred or at least given the kind of importance that it has to have here in the country?
Amsterdam used to be like the Philippines where it's very, very car-centric. Parang cars talaga yung main nila, yung main thing nila before on the roads. But because of safety reasons, because children were dying on the roads, they had this drastic shift of putting active mobility first than anything. So they redesigned their cities. Even in Paris. Sa Paris, because of the pandemic, pero sa Paris naman kasi it's because of sustainability, because of environment. So they shifted into prioritizing less of the cars and more on walkability of the city, bringing better cycling infrastructure, and it's now effective. So I recently visited Paris. Tapos parang ako, I was shocked na parang, kaya pala to. Kasi before Paris talaga, very, car heavy talaga sila eh. Political will talaga yung kailangan.
Actually, I also want to try and see whether or not there are any examples here locally. There have been a few efforts at the very least, to be quite honest. Siguro, I think it's safe to say na medyo kulang pa in terms of widespread adoption. But then, what do you make of yung efforts? Like, for example, Quezon City in particular.
Quezon City.
I think they have 173 kilometers of bike lanes.
Yes.
And they have actually put up specific infrastructure just for bicycles. I mean, how has that experience been like trying to take advantage of this?
Grabe. Quezon City, sobrang nila. They're very consistent when it comes with improving their cycling infrastructure. Over the years, parang kung other cities, they're removing bike lanes, Quezon cities, they've been adding more and at the same time, they've been improving their bike lanes. Kung dati, parang madaming painted lang na bike lane ngayon. I think in Quezon Avenue, yung bike lanes nila, may mga flower pots na. Tapos, yung elliptical road, they designed it to be more inclusive with bus stops as well. So, yun, Quezon City is a very, very good example, a model city, I think, for here in the Philippines, in Metro Manila.
For active mobility. So, in other words, posible. Kasi the reason why I want to bring that up is because we always talk about Europe, right? We always talk about Europe, and baka we can even talk about Japan when it comes to yung active mobility, traveling with bicycles. But then, with a place like Quezon City, na they have shown consistency when it comes to yung bike infrastructure. Why not the others, diba? But I digress. Moving forward to that, are there any wish lists that you have for our government officials, from private companies, investors, to try and siguro make this more conducive? We've seen what a pandemic can do in forcing people to go back on a bike. Pero what can we do for more long-term solutions?
Yun nga yung maganda eh. Parang the pandemic we've seen, like after the pandemic, we've seen how important bicycles are. Pero however, hindi sila naging consistent eh. Sana now, mas, alam mo, we learned from the lessons that we recently had na parang ituloy-tuloy nyo na. Parang, kasi kung magiging ganito ulit in a few years, parang sayang yung ininvest natin dito sa mga infrastructure na to, di ba? And at the same time, let's make our people less dependent on fuel. Kasi ngayon, di ba, ito na yung naging problema natin. So, you give more options to people. You give more options na kung paano sila makaka-move around the city with efficiency, and at the same time, the benefits of active mobility for your people.
And this is not just for Metro Manila.
Yeah,
Just want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Because I know we're in Manila right now, we're talking about that.
Yeah.
But then there have also been efforts in Visayas and
Yes,
Mindanao to
correct.
help encourage that.
I mean, there are cities who's very active with their active mobility programs like Naga. I've seen in Aklan, meron din silang Iloilo, for example.
Yeah,
it's,
Iloilo.
it's another great city for like a model for cycling infrastructure.
Well, we're going to be hoping that more of that does happen.
Sana,
Considering,
talaga.
yeah, it's an issue. But also, at the same time, you're also a motorist. You also have a car. What would you say to motorists to help educate them when it comes to driving alongside mga cyclists? Because we have to share the road with everyone.
Yeah.
Pedestrians, cyclists, and even mga PUV, PUJ, and all of that.
And of course, the motorcycle rider.
Motorcycles
Yeah.
also. Don't forget
We're
about
looking
them.
at you.
No comment. But what's your message to motorists in general
Yeah.
who siguro have to relearn how to share the road?
Yeah, I mean, all of us, we really just want to go home safely sa ating mga bahay, sa ating mga pamilya. And same goes with those other people on the road, those pedestrians, those cyclists, motorcycle riders. So let's respect each other on the road, be safe, follow road rules, and yeah, I mean, observe speed limits. Yeah, ganun.
Yes, that the speed limit thing is really interesting to me, no, Kap?
That's true.
Like, it's
That's true.
it's always a safety thing in
Yeah.
the end. Pero I've never thought about measuring yung speed limit ng mga e-cycles and all of that.
Correct. Ayun nga, they're only, I mean, safety palagi ang sabi nga ni Buji, diba? If you have a bicycle lane, but you can't really enforce anything there, and
Yeah.
medyo labo-labo there also as well, then it won't be an effective solution no matter how many of those you try to set up.
Kap, do you feel na they have the same problem as motorists do, na tipong yung implementation minsan inconsistent depending on yung city?
Ay, ayun na nga. Consistency is key, di ba? Sabi nga nila. I mean, kung nagagawa ng iba, why not yung, di ba? I mean, as we've seen, you guys have mentioned the pandemic, we have seen how cities can work together, regions can work together for a unified, logical solution. So, I guess, sabi nga ni Buji, parang nag-regress tayo after it. The usual ningaskugon
Yeah.
quality of Filipinos, which sana wala na, di ba? But now, there's another crisis. Maybe some guy will get another bright idea somewhere, but I hope these are long-lasting, really sound ideas that will get us to that elite club of European cities with meaningful bike lanes or bike infrastructure at least.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we can come up with in the next few years. But that's all the time we have for the moment. We really appreciate you coming on over, cycling on over here, and making sure that we are reminded na kaya naman natin to be
Kaya.
able to create the infrastructure and share the road with cyclists in a safe way, especially during this time of crisis. Kap, time to wrap things up. I'll let you lead it.
All right. And so that concludes our roundup of the stories driving the industry forward. I'm Maceda Aguila.
I'm Paolo de Rosario. He is Buji Babiera. Please do follow him. He's a mobility advocate and founder of the First Bike Ride. Thank you so much for joining us. Come again tomorrow on Shift Happens, your fast track guide to everything on the move.